This area behind me here, this opening, clearing you see, is where I did a spot and stalk on a doe a couple years back. And here's that doe now. Got one right there. I don't know if I can get it or not. Got one right there. Should try to get closer. And I'm gonna zoom in. See if I can. And I'm gonna stalk it. I'll leave the camera right there. And I'm gonna try to stalk. That doe was feeding over here to my left, right over here. I know that does and yearlings will bed out here. It's a famous doe bedding area back in here. On these cold, crisp mornings, the sun beats right down on these old knolls, and the doe like to bed there, chewing their cud and staying warm in the rays of the sun. I caught that doe on her feet feeding like at 12:30. It was between 12:30, 1 p.m. The doe wasn't bedded yet. She was still up and feeding, but she was actually heading to bed down right over here, right over my right shoulder, right back in here. And she was about 60 yards away from me the whole time. And when she hit the clearing, wide open spot, she ran. It's not because she saw me or I spooked her. I noticed that deer do that a lot. When they hit a clearing or an opening, they'll run through it a lot of times until they get to a thicker cover. That's what she did. She bounded off over here to where it's like thicker and brushier. And I watched her lay down. I was like, oh, wow. I saw the opportunity to put the sneak on her while she was bedded. She bedded down in between some blowdowns and stuff. It was real thick in between her and me. I could barely make her out. I could see the flickering of her ears and her nose a little bit as she turned her head. But I think her eyes were covered good from the blowdown and a lot of brush and branches stuff in between us. I was confident she couldn't see me, and it was quite windy and stuff to help mask my noise. So I put the sneak on her. I stalked to within like 30 yards of this bedded doe. And I sat on a stump right over here. And I just waited her out. Let's say, I said I saw her around 12:30 p.m., 12:30, 35, 12:40-ish maybe. She was still feeding. She hit that clearing, bounded off into her bedding area. She laid down and bedded at close to 1-ish, maybe 12:45, 12:50 p.m. or right around 1 p.m. She bedded down. And I sat on that stump in the glare, the blaring sun, getting a sunburn on my cheek and neck the whole time. I spotted a doe coming into a bed in there. She's right over here. And I waited her out until 1, 2, 3, 3/3, till like 3:30. She stood up. I do remember having my cell phone out. I was sitting there for a couple hours waiting on this deer to stand up and to move. So I was bored, so naturally I was scrolling through Facebook. So I had my phone out of my pocket already, and I do remember checking the time when that doe stood up from her bed. It was right around 3:30 p.m. So she bedded for like 2.5 hours. So I sat there in that blaring hot sun, in a 60-degree day, getting a sunburn for 2.5 hours waiting on this bedded doe to stand up and kind of move my way. And she closed the distance like 10 yards. She went from like 30 yards away from me to within like 20-ish. I think when Yeah, she went to feeding behind like a dead tree that laid down. There was like a blowdown or dead tree and like blocking a lot of her body. And she stood there broadside, like around 19, 20 yards away from me, feeding. And I saw my narrow window of opportunity to shoot her. I had to aim high, had to aim for high lung. I had about this much of her to shoot at. It was like a foot, a narrow, the shooting lane was just a few feet wide, and I had about that much of the deer to aim at. I was going for high lung. I was looking ahead of the deer. I looked ahead to her left, and in front of her to where she was heading, and I didn't see any shooting lanes. If I let her keep walking, she would have walked away further and further away. She would have gotten 30, 40, 50 yards away from me. And by the time it would have been wide open enough for me to shoot at her, she would have been too far away to shoot at her with a bow. And she would have been behind me. And I would have had to move too much, and there would have been nothing in between us to block my movement and stuff. And I would have run the risk of spooking her, running her out of there, and not getting a shot at all. So I, looking ahead and thinking about where I possibly could shoot her, there were no other clear shooting lanes ahead of her where she would have went if I waited her out. That was my only shooting lane I had at the time, and I had about a foot of her to shoot at, from like mid-lung to spine. I had to aim over that fallen tree that was kind of angled, kind of bent like this. So let's say that's the deer. I had like that much of her to aim at. I had about half of the front end of that deer to aim at. I had to aim over that fallen tree to get the arrow in there, to get high lung, possibly some spine, high lung. And, well, you'll have to wait to see what happens next. And this hunt starts right now. I see this doe chewing her cud. I can see her jaw, her mouth going as she regurgitates food out of her rumen and re-chews it and swallows it down into her stomach. She's chewing her cud, just like a cow over here. But she's bedded within 25 yards of me. I had an opportunity at this doe earlier on, about an hour and a half ago. That's how long I've been sitting here on this stump waiting for her to stand up on her own. She bedded down a little after 1. Yeah, it was like 1 o'clock. 1 or a little after. It's now 2. About 2 o'clock in the afternoon. She's still bedded down. I've got enough. I have a blowdown in between us. I've been moving like crazy, scratching my head, taking my hat on and off, moving my bow around. And I've been moving a lot, and she's not seeing any of it. She's only 25 yards away, bedded down, right? So this blowdown in between us is thick enough. There's enough wind, too, plenty of wind to move stuff around, help mask my movements and stuff and my noises. But yeah, she's right over here. She's bedded right there. Waiting for her to stand up on her own and to give me an opportunity. I'll have anywhere between a 20 to 25 yard shot when she stands up. She'll have to walk a little bit. She'd have to take a few steps to give me a shot. But yeah, I'm on the way in, and I know that though a bunch of deer bed here. I'm in a bedding area, right in the heart of a bedding area. So I hunted this morning out of my blind, and with no luck, didn't see anything. So I thought I was going to get lunch, take a drive up here to this area, and just walk in here real slowly, do a little still hunt, see if I can spot any bedded deer, and put the sneak on them. And I walk up on this deer, already still on her feet, feeding. It was like 12:30, midday, high noon. She's still feeding, browsing on her feet. Got it. Got it good. Got it. I don't know if it was too high or not, but I hit it good. There it goes. She's running far though. She's running far. I hope it goes down. I hope it goes down. I hit it good, but oh, where's she going? Might have been too high, but we're gonna find out. I hit it good. I got it good. Yes. I don't know if I got. Yeah. I don't know if she's down though. I might have hit her too high. Might have taken. It might be too high of a shot. But well, yeah. Oh man. Hopefully it wasn't too high. Hopefully the shot wasn't too high. Hope not. She ran far. She went wicked far. It might have been too high, that shot. I don't know if it was good enough to kill her or not. She ran far. She should be... She covered 100+ yards. I saw her going. I've got ample time to follow her up. I might be able to get a follow-up shot on her or something, which I'll try to do. I'm going to review the shot on the camera. We'll go from there. So don't go anywhere. Keep watching to see what happens next. Alright, we're looking for my arrow, looking for any blood. Or my arrow. I mean, the shot was through this little opening. She stood right here above. I could have missed her. The shot might have been too high. I thought I saw blood pouring out her side, but it might have been something else. But the shot came through this little opening. It could have deflected. The shot my arrow might have deflected off some of these branches right here. Yeah, the shot was... We were looking for... That doe was standing right here. My shot. Oh, there it is. My arrow's right here. Oh, it was a miss. No way. Oh, I missed. A clean miss. I missed. I can't believe I missed that doe. What is it with this year? I got this brand new Realm bow by Bowtech, and all I've done with this bow this year so far is miss. I don't know what. It's nothing to do with the bow. It's my shooting. My shooting sucks. I missed a 140-inch 10-point buck. Nice buck, beautiful buck. Now I miss a chip shot, an 18-yard shot on a doe. Well, 20 yard. Well, to my defense, the arrow, I had to shoot through the tiniest of openings. And the arrow had to have deflected off some of these branches. I'd say the arrow ricocheted off any one of these number of branches I had to shoot through. I had a tiny little narrow window to shoot through. That doe, it's a clean miss. There's that dead ringer broadhead. All full of dirt from that miss on that doe. Clean as a whistle. Look, no blood, hair. The nocturnal lighted knock. That's the blue nocturnal lighted knock. That I saw that light beautifully downrange. So I haven't been able to watch the shot on an ultra slow mo yet to see what happened to the arrow. But when I edit the video and edit it into slow mo, I'll be able to see what path the arrow went in, see what happened. Yeah, clean miss. Nothing, no blood or hair. Man, it's all been nothing but misses this year so far. It's only the 5th of October though. It's still wicked early. Still ample time left to get a deer. And I have time to make it into my blind. Oh, she's not. Yep. Oh, I was sitting right here on the stump when that doe stood up and closed the distance like 10 yards. She went from 30 to 20. She was feeding behind this dead fallen tree right over here to my left. And I had that one narrow shooting window right there. Looking ahead, if she kept going, if she kept walking, I wouldn't have had any shooting lanes. She would have gotten further away, and I would have had too much stuff in between us to get a clear shot. But where she stopped, broadside at 20, I had that narrow shooting window opportunity there. Had about that much of the deer to shoot at, right there. It's all grown up now. It's a lot thicker in here than it was a couple years ago. Yeah, it's all, the landscape's changed. There's a lot more blowdowns, a lot taller brush, vegetation. Yeah, it looks way different in here now.